Ma'am, in this video, we are going to discuss paper 1, child psychology, the first 3 chapters, ma'am. What are they? Meaning, definition, scope, and importance of methods of psychology, historical background of child psychology, and stages of child development. Among 3, the stages of child development is very, very important, ma'am. In the first paper, if you have your book, please have the book in front of you so that it will be much easier for you to follow the topics, ma'am. So the first is explain meaning and definition of child psychology. So here a small discussion is given. What is psychology? So understand, ma'am, psychology means study of one's behavior, and child psychology here means study of children's behavior. Now coming to the question, who are children? So children are who belong to this age category of 0 to 18 is called children, ma'am. So broadly, we can classify the 0 to 18 into 3 small subcategories. They are called as infancy, that is 0 to 6. Then 6 to 12 is childhood. 12 to 18 is adolescence, ma'am. So இப்படி ஒரு ஏஜ் குரூப், ஒரு சில்ட்ரன் அப்படிங்கிற ஏஜ் குரூப்பை நம்ம 3 சப்கேட்டகரிஸா ஸ்பிளிட் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். Why are we splitting up into 3 subcategories, ma'am? கொஞ்சம் easier for us to understand it, much easier, ma'am. So 3 subcategories are there. So 0 to 6 வந்து more or less children of 5-year-old, 2-year-old எல்லாத்தோட கேரக்டரிஸ்டிக்ஸுமே ஒரே மாதிரி இருக்கிறதுனால அது 6 years அப்படி கிளப் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. Then childhood more or less each and every this 7-year and 7-year and you can say 11-year-old will be almost their feelings, their emotions, their interests, their likes, their dislikes எல்லாமே சிமிலரா இருக்கிறதுனால அப்படி ஒரு கேட்டகரி எடுத்திருக்காங்க. Then you know adolescence-ல எல்லாத்தோட சில்ட்ரனோட ஃபீலிங்ஸ், லைக்ஸ், டிஸ்லைக்ஸ், இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்ஸ், behaviors இது எல்லாமே வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா almost will be similar. So அப்படி based on similarities we have classified into 3 subcategories, ma'am. So in all these each and every subcategories how children will be, how commonly children see of course each and every children are unique, they will have exclusive different characteristics, but in general common 80% of the children of this age group will have same characteristics. What is that? Majority characteristics that children are having belonging to that same age group is what we are going to discuss today. So because broadly we will be discussing about children of 0 to 6 mainly, because those are the children who you going to become a teacher. Nursery teachers வந்து 0 to 6 தான் வந்து அதிகமா ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுவாங்க. So more importance will be given, but generally children means it is not only 0 to 6, but you should also include up to 18. And here we will discuss 18 until 18 we will discuss, but much importance will be given to 0 to 6 years, that infancy category, ma'am. Definition of child psychology. So child psychology is a positive science of studies சொன்ன மாதிரி behavior of child in the context of the environment. So childhood behavior, how do the behavior change, ma'am, depending upon the environment. So particularly to this environment, how the child is reacting அப்படிங்கிறது they are studying in each and every different environment, and they define, okay, for this age group this is how the children will be. Most of the children, based on majority of the study, this is how children will be. Of course you need not worry, you நம்ம child அந்த category வரல, our child exhibits a different sense of emotions, everything particular that age, not to panic, ma'am. The majority of the children தான் study பண்ணிருப்பாங்க. So if our children does not fit towards that majority group, definitely they will have different characteristics, not to worry about it. Now here how do they, what are the main factors of child psychology, ma'am? ஒரு child நீங்க வந்து psychology வந்து நீங்க வந்து study பண்ணணும், a child's behavior you wanted to study, you know, what are the factors you have to consider? The first one is context of the environment, where the child grow. Environment is nothing but surrounding, ma'am. So to whom all the children is interacting, how do the child interact with the other persons? Other persons here mean family, friends, school friends, relatives, neighbors, இதெல்லாம் இந்த கேட்டகரியில வருவாங்க. So you have to make a study about to all the persons where the child interact, study of the individual. அந்த child வந்து நீங்க study பண்றீங்க. இந்த child வந்து இப்ப பெரியவங்களா ஆயிட்டாங்கன்னு வைங்களேன். For example, if you wanted to study a behavior of a person who is 20-year-old அப்படின்னா, presently in 20-year-old, how is that person? What is his likes or dislikes, you are going to discuss, you are going to study, ma'am. And in his childhood, how he was, what was his environment, that also you should record, they are saying. That also you should take as your study material. Only then we can give a exact report on what his behavior is like. So you have to study his environment, his present condition and his past childhood condition as well. Then study of his behavior. Behavior is nothing but his thoughts, actions related to such things. Positive signs abdina, from in our psychology book, there will be some standard set of what to say, ma'am, standard set of personalities, ma'am. So we are going to compare what we have studied to the standard set of personalities which is present in the psychology. So a comparative study is being made. For example, I'll give you an example, ma'am. For example, a personality like Abdul Kalam. You can take, ma'am. So what would the psychologists do, ma'am? Abdul Kalam's characteristics, his likes and dislikes are these. They would have listed out, ma'am. Then you are studying a child. The child's personality is more or less, that is, his present likes and dislikes are more or less similar to that of the childhood days of Mr. Abdul Kalam. We can say, okay, this child will grow up similar to that of Abdul Kalam because his likes and dislikes are, the child's likes and dislikes are very much similar to that of Abdul Kalam's childhood days. So, there is an opportunity for him also to become like Abdul Kalam. So, this is what is called positive science. Positive science is nothing but a comparative study is being made with already well-established personality. Again, the newly emerging personality, we are going to compare it with the well-established personality. And always remember, ma'am, this psychology is only based on statistics. Statistics, majority of the people are like this. So your child also can be like this. So it is based on assumption only. Sometimes it might go wrong. So since it includes majority of the samples, most of the time it is right only, but very rare the approach of psychology can be false also. Now, importance of child psychology. Why are we studying this child psychology? Why are we taking so much measure in understanding the child's likes and dislikes? Earlier days, it was so, ma'am. In school, children, they never bother about children's interest. It is only the teacher. Whatever the teacher says, blindly the child has to follow. The children or students was not given any freedom inside the classroom. But these days things have greatly changed. Classroom paints, the furnitures, the teachers' approach, everything has been changed. Why this drastic change, ma'am? Have you ever thought about why this drastic changes made in class? Means these changes are all based on psychology only, ma'am. So we have to thank psychology, because psychology keep studying what is the impact of children inside the classroom. So if the teacher is extremely strict, what will be the impact? If the teacher is having a very good relationship, very friendly relationship with the children, what is the impact? And the outcome is, for the teachers who are having a very good relationship with children, the outcome of the children are very, very extremely good when compared to that of very rigorous, strict environment. And so they said it is better for a teacher to become very friendly rather than a strict officer. So these studies are all confirmed. Different researches were conducted and were confirmed and made and were published in psychology. And so based on that only, these days children are given a great importance and also freedom. We will by when we complete this paper, we will know how much freedom should be given, how much punishment should be given. See, we cannot totally ignore punishments. No, of course, that is also required. How much is required, we will discuss, ma'am. Now, so what are we going to study, ma'am? Of studying this psychology, what are we going to gain? You can properly understand the children, improve the teaching methods, improve the curriculum. Evaluation and testing is nothing but your examination patterns, ma'am, that you can create a perfect examination pattern so that it is much interesting for the children and very useful for the teachers as well. So diagnosis and solution of classroom problems. So one classroom problem is given here, ma'am, which is the next discipline administration. One case study is being given. So inside a classroom, children are given a lunch break. So children are having their lunches from their tiffin boxes. Soon after the lunch break, if you see the class, it will be in total chaos and untidiness, ma'am, because they have their lunch. So the teachers are thinking how to fix this problem. So chaos means highly very, they may create so much of noise while having their lunch, and after lunch the entire area becomes extremely messy. So they wanted to fix these two problems, that is noise as well as cleanliness, ma'am. So how to fix, how to bring these two things, ma'am. So the teachers are thinking, one there are two teachers, for example. One teacher is telling, okay, I will have a long lengthy cane. If anybody spills a small particle of their lunch, definitely I'm going to give them severe punishment. And any noise also is being made, they're going to be severely punished. And so she also punishes few children, seeing that the other children becomes very quiet and they stop spilling their food. After eating the food, the classroom is very clean now and there is no noise at all. So this teacher says, okay, I have made my job. Now the children have become very responsible. So the same task is being given to another teacher. This teacher is saying, okay, here I'm not going to be extremely strict with the children, or I'm not going to show any properties like cane or any other thing to threaten the children. Instead, what I will do is I'm going to split the children into different groups. For example, say 5 children in one group, and I'm going to choose one leader for that 5 children. Now it is the leader's responsibility to see to that these rest 4 of the children in their group will not make any noise and they are not going to spill their food. Now, if the leader sees to that they are not spilling any food and they are not making any noise, this leader gets a star from the teacher, and the teacher is going to add as many stars they get at the end of the month. And end of the month, the teacher is going to count all the group stars, and who gets the highest of the stars will be rewarded. And the next month, the among those 5 children, the another one will be chosen as the leader. And this is how she says, okay, this we will work out. And both of the things was very successful. Even the first teacher who was threatening with the cane, the children became very quiet and they stopped messing around. The second teacher who brought this leadership training in within the children, they also stopped making noise, and they also kept the classroom very clean after eating. Now, which is very successful, ma'am. Psychology says it is going to approve only the second method. Why it approves the second method and not the first method means, if for example, after a month's time, if the teacher takes a leave, the first teacher who brings a long cane, that teacher takes a leave. Instead, another substitute teacher comes up. Inga, children sees, okay, this is only the substitute teacher. This is not that teacher who threatened us. They will again start making noise, because here they are not scared for the teacher, but for the cane. And if the teacher gets changed, they will resort to their original behavior. But whereas in second type, what the psychology approved, where the teacher appoints a leader, though they are not bothered about the teachers, whoever comes, they are only bothered for this leader. So this leader takes that responsibility and makes the children very quiet, and in the due course of time that becomes their behavior. So next year also, if they are moving to different class, though there is no such group system, no leader again, this habit will become their long-term behavior, they say. So it is always, rather than making the children or forcing into a habit with rigorous punishment, you can only force them for a short period, psychology says, ma'am. For a long period, if you want the child to practice something, some habit, here it is better to make the children understand, or it is better to take any other measure, but not this threatening method, they say. So it is the second method is what the psychology approves, ma'am. Then improvement in teacher-taught relationship. So understanding psychology, you can teach the children in a better way. Experimental research, experiment based on experience, you can keep changing the methodologies of teaching, ma'am. Now, who is the subject matter of child psychology? Of course, it is the children are our subject in child psychology. Now, scope of child psychology. So if you want to understand child psychology, what are the other subjects you should know, ma'am? So you should know the stages of growth and maturation, how the children grow, what are the stages they undergo. That is, see, ma'am, in infancy itself, there are different patterns of growth. For example, infancy 0 to 6. Newborn child is very small. The child cannot do anything without the help of others. This is one stage, ma'am. Then the next stage, the child crawls, then creeps, then sits down, then stand up, then walk. These are all different patterns in their growth, ma'am. So you should have some understanding about that growth pattern. Only then you can understand children, they say. Environmental influences. Environmental influences. Now, initially, when a child is very small, the child will only interact with the mother. But as the child grows, the child interacts with the father, the other members of the family, friends, neighbors, school friends, so on, ma'am. So, idellam you should understand. You should, when you are making an opinion about the child, you should consider studying their environment as well. Interaction between the child and the members of society. Mental process of the child that you are going to study. Mental process means the maturation. So initially the maturation of the child will be very poor. Later on it will develop as the child grow. Individual differences. So as I told you, எல்லா children ஒரே மாதிரி, majority of their habits are same அப்படி இருந்தா கூட each and every children are unique. You should not fail to remember this. Then methods of studying the children. There are several methods in studying the children, ma'am. Here only the names of the methods have been listed out, but they are not given a detailed study about each and every method. So for how will you study the children, ma'am? That is, children here means how will you study the children's psychology. So there are different methods, nearly 15 methods they have listed out, ma'am. பேர் மட்டும் தான் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. They have not explained it. So I will give you small explanation, ma'am. So that will be much easier for you to remember the names. The naturalistic observation. இங்க ஒரு child கூட்டிட்டு வராங்க உங்ககிட்ட. கூட்டிட்டு வந்துட்டு அந்த child பத்தி நம்ம ஸ்டடி பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. So if you are a psychologist அப்படின்னா how will you study? There is one method, naturalistic observation. ஒன்னும் நீங்க child கிட்ட கேட்க வேணாம், பண்ண வேணாம். ஒரு கிளாஸ் ரூம் குள்ள விட்டுட்டு for about 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, you're just observing how the child interacts with the other children, how the child completes the tasks, how long it takes for a child to complete. இதெல்லாம் நீங்க வந்து குவைட்டா அப்சர்வ் பண்றீங்க, அவ்வளவுதான். child need not know the child is under observation. So either which you can understand how the child behaves. The child is very aggressive, very violently the child behaves inside the class, never shares any of the objects with the other children, or the child sleeps, or the child is hyperactive. இதெல்லாம் நீங்க வந்து கொஞ்ச நேரம் அப்சர்வ் பண்ணீங்கனாலே you can understand the children. Child biography. Child biography means instead of observing the child பத்தின nature எல்லாம் நீங்க வந்து who are close to the child, that particular child, you are asking them. Then autobiography is you are asking the child. It's a child observe பண்ணாம நீ என்ன பண்ணுவ, உன்னை இப்படி கிளாஸ் ரூம்குள்ள விட்டா நீ என்ன பண்ணுவ, will you listen properly or will you beat others? If you're not given a chance, some child is taking away your book, what will you do, how will you react? இப்படியெல்லாம் நீங்க child கிட்டே கேட்டு அந்த child பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறீங்க. Comparison, you are comparing with the other children. Psychophysical studies, you are studying the mind maturation as well as the physical growth of the child. Statistical method. Statistical method means you are studying a group of samples. Group of samples, a group of children நம்ம study பண்ணி we are coming to a conclusion, this is how the child is going to be. Psychometric methods. Psychometric methods is there are few methods how to study in psychology. You're following those methods, ma'am. Rating scale. Rating scale, after studying you are giving, okay, out of 5 stars I will give 3 stars for the child, 2 stars for the child. That is called rating scale. Questionnaire means you are preparing yes or no type questions and asking to the children. Case study. Case study, you are studying the detailed study about the children. Projective technique. Projective technique means you're studying the child who's 10-year-old. After studying, after analyzing all its characteristics, you are telling if the child is going to follow the same characteristics after 10 years, when the child is 20-year-old, this is how the child's character would be. This is what the child is going to achieve. Project பண்றோம். Futuristic study சொல்றதுதான் projective techniques. Experimental method. Experimental method is after conducting certain experiments, you are coming to a conclusion. This is how the child's behavior is going to be. Psychoanalytic is also certain standard techniques, ma'am. Genetic method is nothing but the study of the genes. So from the genetic samples, you are telling this is how the child will be, this is how the child character will be. So that is what is one of the method, ma'am. Chapter 2, historical background of child psychology. So historical background means that is what they are saying. Why a huge difference in teaching is brought today is based on psychology only. Earlier they believed on rigorous punishment, ma'am, and strict disciplines. Earlier they believed நல்ல குழந்தைகளை அடிச்சு வளர்த்தனாதான் they would become with high character, they will turn into a adult with high characters. But here it is not so, ma'am. So now they are not believing in that. So in today's school they are dropping rigorous punishment, and also there is no severe and strict disciplinary measures are not being followed. Here now only friendly approach is being followed, because that gives more positive outcome in children, that builds more confidence in children. அப்படியெல்லாம் யார் நமக்கு சொன்னாங்க? It is of course the psychologists, ma'am. After conducting several experiments, they have confirmed these principles, and so only these today's schools, modern schools, are giving a great freedom to children when compared to the schools before 20 years now. Now, stages of child development. Earlier I told you, for studying the child's behavior, you should know the growth pattern of children. To understand the growth pattern of children, we are studying the developmental pattern in 4 stages. What are they, ma'am? As I already told you, infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, ma'am. Infancy means 0 to 6 years. Childhood is 6 to 12 years. Adolescence is 12 to 18. Just mention it in your book, ma'am. Adulthood means above 18 years, ma'am. So how the child would be in each and every stage. So in infancy na the 0 to 6 la eppadi ella children vandu what is their developmental pattern. So along with the developmental pattern, we should learn 5 developments, ma'am. The major aspects of development, that is under infancy 0 to 6 years la, how would be their physical development, how would be their mental development, emotional development, ethical and aesthetic development, social development. What is physical development? Physical development வந்து வெளியில பார்க்கக்கூடிய development, that is growth of their body, their height, weight, so and so. So in 0 to 6 la, how it would be in 0, how it would be in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, அப்படி நம்ம படிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்க போறோம். That is called physical development. Mental development means how their mind matures. How will you analyze the child has got a mature mind or not, ma'am? Once we interact with the child, how the child replies to a question, from that we can understand whether the child is matured or not. And that maturity should be checked again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on, ma'am. Then emotional development. Emotions are nothing but feelings, ma'am. How do you express your feelings? And those are called emotions, ma'am. And sometimes, we get affected with others' feeling also. That also happens, ma'am. So how soon we get affected, or how can we control our feelings? All that study is being made under this emotional development, ma'am. Ethical and aesthetic development. Ethical means sense of right and wrong. So this moral development, you can say. So how the child moral values are very poor at the initial stages now. So child will not know that telling lie is wrong. So appellam we have to take measures in fixing it. So moral development is very poor in lower stages. As we develop higher, as we grow higher, then only our moral developments gets developed. Then aesthetic development is sense of beauty. Although that is also poor in young age, ma'am. Only as we grow, we know how to maintain things, how to keep it neatly, clean, all that comes under aesthetic development. Social development. Social development again is how you interact with others. So interact with others here means your whole family members, your friends, other members in the society, unknown persons, everything. How you greet them, everything comes under that social development. So one by one, we are going to study in each and every 3 subcategories, ma'am. That is under infancy, we will discuss physical development, mental development, emotional development, ethical and aesthetic development, social development. Then the same 5 aspects of development will be discussed under childhood. Then 5 aspects of development will be discussed in adolescence as well. So first thing, ma'am, physical development in infancy. The first thing we are going to discuss, physical development in infancy. So infancy here means you can consider a newborn child, ma'am. So newborn child, they say physical development is extremely fast, rapid in a newborn child. Eppadi rapid அப்படினு சொல்றாங்கன்னா, in what scale they are telling அப்படினு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, a newborn குழந்தையோட weight வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it would be somewhere around 2.5 to 3 kgs, ma'am. So in the 3 kgs of weight எப்படி develop ஆகுது? As the child gets 1 year old, 3 times the weight gets developed அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. இப்போ 3 கிலோ இருந்தது by birthல அப்படின்னா, the child reaches the weight of 9 to 10 kgs at the time of 1 year old, first birthday ku அப்படி ஆயிடுது. And this will not happen in any time of our growth pattern அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. அதாவது if I'm 20, if for example a person is 20-year-old, 20-year-old he or she is 50 kgs. இது 50 kgsல இந்த child இவங்க 21 வரும்போது how much ever they eat and with no physical activity, 3 times the weight gain ஏற்படாது. 3 times the weight gain 150 kgs அப்படி 1 year குள்ளார அவங்க போடுறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பே இல்லை. So 3 times the weight gain இருக்காது. ஏதோ ஒரு 10 kgs or 5 kgs வந்து அவங்க வந்து போடலாம் out of laziness or any other problem. So இங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்க, ஆனா newborn child வந்து 3 times the weight easily they get developed and also easily get ரொம்ப பெருசாலாம் அவங்க சாப்பிடவும் மாட்டாங்க, yet that development takes place and that வந்து நம்ம வந்து so that is why it is called a very rapidனா வேகமான டெவலப்மெண்ட் ஏற்படுற phase அது. and for this to develop என்ன மேம் பண்ணணும் நம்ம, so இது along with that என்னெல்லாம் டெவலப் ஆகுது பாருங்க. 3 times the weight gain happen ஆகும்போது their brain gets developed. The sex organs development is very poor ma'am initially. Increase in height happens. Growth of brain வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா nearly 80%, noted down ma'am, nearly 80% of the brain develops before the child turns into 4 years ma'am. 4-year-old child குள்ள 80% of the brain develops and 8-year-old ஆகிறதுக்குள்ளார 90% of the brain will get developed ma'am. But whereas sex organs வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா பெரிய லெவல்ல sex organs will not get developed. Sex organ development will happen only at the stage of adolescence and that is where we say that puberty means that their sex organs started getting developed from the onset of puberty. அது வரைக்கும் sex organs are poorly developed only. Increase in height happens, growth in weight happens, change in proportion na newborn child வந்து it will be very big, body will be small, then there will be a changes in that proportion. Development of internal organs na as the child grow, the growth and size of the internal organs also changes they say. So all this we have to study they say ma. Then internal organs la heartbeat will be high for a child ma'am. For us it is around 70 to 80. For a child it would be around 90 to 100. It is very common. After 1 year, after a child turns 1 year, then the heartbeat will become like us ma'am. Slowly it will slow down they say. Now for proper development, for proper physical development to happen, what we should do, we should give them good food, cleanliness, clothes, sleep, feeding, child care, mother's love, mother's care, avoidance of indulgence. What is this avoidance of indulgence ma'am? Extreme care for the children. So adu kuda sometimes வந்து it causes trouble only they say. At times 24/7 I'm sitting beside children, I'm not giving an opportunity to children to walk, run, anything, no, because the child will fall down, so I am not going to let my child to walk. Wherever the child has to move, I will put him in a pram or I myself will carry. No, that is not encouraged they say. At times we should let children to fall, let children to do some mistakes. Only from mistakes they learn. So if you're not at all giving any opportunities for children to make any mistakes, that is what we called as indulgence ma'am. So that should be avoided they say. No physical strain. அதே மாதிரி my child has to win in Olympics அப்படின்னு right from 1 year 2 year we are giving severe practice na அதுவும் தப்பு. So extreme things should be avoided because they are at the tender age of, at the stage of infancy. Then infancy prior to childhood. Now infancy is going to get over and they are going to enter childhood. Now what will be their developmental pattern? Slowly all the developmental pattern will change when they reach the stage called childhood they say. Stages of motor development. So what is this motor development? This muscular movements of a child is what we call it as motor development ma'am. Always remember ma'am, this muscular movements, kai kaal asikkiradhu, nadakkiradhu, oduradhu, running, walking, crawling, idellame muscular movements or we call it as motor developments ma'am. For all these motor developments to take place properly, the child's mind has to mature. How will the mind means the brain has to work ma'am. For the brain to work, you have to move the muscles ma'am. So rendu vagaila this could happen ma'am. That is, by moving your hands and lips, your brain can be activated. Or once your brain gets activated, automatically your muscles will move. Which is easier ma'am? Can we open your skull and make your brain work? No, that is not possible. So there's only one way you can move your body, you can move your body parts and make your brain work. So that is what we call it as. So there's two kinds of sensory motor development. That is, when you sharpen your sensory organs, motor development will take place automatically, ma'am. So this patterns of crawling and creeping also has been given, ma'am. At 1 month, what will be the child's activity? Like 1 to 15 months, the activities have been listed out here. Now, next is physical development in childhood, ma'am. So physical development in childhood, how do the child develop in childhood? So childhood's development is not as fast as that of the infancy, but of course development takes place here. Here child requires lot of energy in this childhood, in this stage of childhood, ma'am. So you have to take extreme care of food. So as that of food, another thing is also very important, another factor which we call it as friends, ma'am. Friends here means the children's same age group, ma'am, plus or minus 3. That is what we call it as peer group. So in the peer group, friends are very, very essential for this proper development of childhood, they say. That is why if there is only one child in my family, the child is not having any of these siblings, make sure the child interacts with other children in their school. If you have too many children in your own home, you can undergo homeschooling itself. School is not required. School is not only a place of sharing knowledge or learning some knowledge, it is also a place where social development should take place. For the social development to take place, the child has to interact with the same age group, more or less, plus or minus 3 years. So that is very, very important. So that generally happens only in school. So which is very important for the stage of childhood, ma'am. So in infancy, food, rest, mother's love is all very, very important for childhood, for the child growth pattern to happen. Food and this friends are extremely important, ma'am. So important factors in motor development. So motor development, you should remember, ma'am, motor development means moving your muscles. So there are two types of motor development, ma'am. Fine motor and gross motor. So moving your larger muscles like hands and legs are called gross motor, and moving your fingers and doing clay work, writing, drawing, everything, stitching, இதெல்லாம் வந்து it comes under fine motor skills, ma'am. Both gets developed in childhood, it seems. Important points in teaching of motor activity. So before the child learns to move the motor activity, hands or legs or any of the fine skills their child is about to learn, what is very important, ma'am? Who are teaching, teachers are teaching, that teacher should have um, extreme patience, they say, ma'am. The teacher should not be very strict towards the children at the time they teach the children. So they should have extreme patience in teaching, and they should motivate well, and they should not criticize the children if they go wrong. So these are three very important things when we teach a new task towards the children, ma'am. An interesting method should be known. So you should understand what is the best method in teaching, and that you should teach, ma'am. Then second point is encouraging the use of effective techniques. So there are several methods. So in that several method, which is the suitable method for this child to follow that skill, that has to be, you should teach only that method, they say, ma'am. Then minimum possible destructive criticism. Don't criticize the children because newly they are learning. So you should have them some patience, ma'am. Stress on right activities, stress on speed and exactness of skillful learning, proper and see, one time or twice you're learning, you cannot learn that. Several times you should also practice. So that is again, the teacher should teach them, tell the children that you have to practice regularly, only then you can learn that skill. So practice with an aim. So blindly simply practicing, you can set them short-term goals, long-term goals, you can reward them in between, so that they will practice enthusiastically. Teaching motor activity in school. So how do you teach motor activity in school, especially for nursery children? Running, walking, climbing, and that is why they have this many equipments in their playground, ma'am, like merry-go-round, slide, swings. So these are all, one way or the other way helps them in um, gross motor movements, ma'am. Now, development in manual skill. Apart from motor skills, the child should know how to use their manual skills. Manual skills are nothing but using their hands, ma'am. Hands for what? For drinking, eating, putting on dress, taking away dress, for tying their shoelaces. Such activities again should be taught in childhood, they say, along with motor skills. So learning manual skills begins like throwing the ball, catching the ball, eating and drinking, putting on and taking off clothes, writing, so on. So these skills should again be taught at the stage of childhood. Left-handedness. So here there are few children are left-handed, ma'am. So what do we have to really worry about? Or children should use only right hand? Why these children are again left hand and not right hand? So these questions will be answered, ma'am. So always remember, ma'am, it is the brain which controls our body. So in our brain there are two sides, ma'am, right side and left side. The right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Say left hand, left leg, so on is being controlled by the right side of the brain. Left side of the brain is controlled by the right side of the body. I mean, left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. Right hand, right leg is being controlled by the left side of the brain. So which side of the brain is very, very extremely functioning, you will be that handed. I mean, for example, if right side of your brain is extremely functioning very well from birth, naturally you will be left-handed, ma'am. If your right side of the brain is very active, then you will be left-handed. So it is opposite, ma'am. So for all children who are left-handed, which means that the right side of their brain are very strong. Majority of the people are right-hand, ma'am. So it means for them all, for us, for example, I am right-hand. So for me, which side of the brain is very strong, ma'am? Left side of the brain is very strong. And left side and right side are meant to have certain qualities, ma'am. For example, for creativity and all, left side of the brain is highly responsible, ma'am. I'll give you certain examples, ma'am. Left side of the brain, if it's very sharp, it is right-handed people, ma'am. So for right-handed people, they say language skills are very good. They are very disciplined. They follow the rules and regulations very well. And they are very good in maths and science. So for all these skills, your left side brain is responsible, ma'am. For right side, they dream very well. Their creativity is very high for left-handed people, ma'am. The art classes, in art classes they excel very nice. Then what else, ma'am? Their imagination skills are very much brighter than that of left side brain people, ma'am. So these are the qualities are for left-handed people. So when their right side brain have these qualities, so they become left-handed people, ma'am. And if the child is left-handed, you may not worry. They can continue that itself. But if you feel no, it is not appropriate for my child to be left-handed, I wanted to make my child right-hand, means what you have to do, ma'am? You can give them exercises like exercises in using both the hands and both the legs, so that the brain also it is well balanced, ma'am. Once both side of the brain functions optimum to the same level, then both hands will be strong. But namak appdi kedaiyadu. For all left side brain, if it's very sharp and strong, only our right hand is much stronger for us. So only one side of the brain is much sharper. But in countries like Japan, to sharpen both side of the brain, they make children to write in both the hands. First, they teach them in right hand, and for some years, they teach their children in left hand also. So Japanese children, until 5th standard, by 5th standard, they learn to write in both the hands, right hand for some time and left hand for some time. But why they are teaching both the hands writing, ma'am? So that both sides of the brain will be very sharp. Otherwise, if you're using right hand very frequently, means your left side of the brain only is very sharp. If you're using left hand frequently, means only the right side of the brain becomes very sharp. So with this, handedness is not a problem at all. You need not worry. One thing, in India, if a child is left-handed, You can make the child to follow all the practices of what we do. Everything the child can do in left hand except eating. Eating has to be taught in right hand because it is our culture to eat in right hand now. Because if they're going outside, if they're eating in left hand, then they will be shunned. So in order to avoid that, teach them eating alone in right hand. The rest of the other activities they can follow in left hand if they are a left-handed person. So with this, we will stop this video, ma'am. So in this video, we have discussed the first 3 chapters. Next video, we will discuss the next 3 chapters now. Thank you.